In a 2023 national survey on drug use and health, 48.5 million Americans struggled with substance use disorder. Addiction is when one's brain urges them to do something, such as a substance or activity, that will ultimately negatively affect them. Those who have some form of addiction may not choose to get help to recover because of stigma around getting help. Hi, I'm Caroline Joy Kahler, and as someone who has witnessed several people go through addiction and recovery, I want to cover what addiction does to the brain of the one with the addiction, how it may affect those around them, and how to get help if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction. The first thing I would like to go over is how addiction affects the brain. According to yalemedicine.org, addiction affects the reward system of the brain and the role of dopamine. So, in the little diagram here from Yale Medicine, it shows that this is the natural reward system pathway, and there's less dopamine, which is the green. But when you take addictive substances, then there's more dopamine release. Dopamine is a chemical messenger in the brain that affects the brain's reward system, mood, attention, memory, and movement. When a person picks up an activity that has an overall negative effect on them, such as smoking, drinking, gambling, exercise, or even a stressful activity, in the moment of doing said activity, the brain releases the chemical dopamine to show the satisfaction of it. This overall encourages the brain to seek the activity again. Over time, the brain grows tolerance. This is when the brain does not release the same amount of dopamine that the original amount of the activity you were doing before did. This then increases how much of whatever activity you are doing so you can feel the same satisfaction. Addiction can affect a person's mental health extremely. According to Hackensack MeridianHealth.org, addiction specifically to substances and mental health typically tend to co-occur with each other. This may be because it gives the person a way to cope with life or as a way to feel a sense of happiness in a dark time. Addiction may also affect the relationships that the person with the addiction may have. I've blurred out the faces of this family, but when someone in your life has an addiction to something, the effects can be felt by the people surrounding them. For example, say an immediate family member has an addiction to gambling. Your whole family is going to feel the effects of the addiction. According to the National Library of Medicine, it is estimated that more than 8 million children younger than 18 live with at least one adult with a substance use disorder. Overall, this can increase a child's likelihood of struggling with future emotional, behavioral, or substance abuse problems. There are several negative impacts an addiction can have on a family. It makes roles feel reversed, as a child may feel responsible for the adult. Finances can be hard to balance, and possible abuse may occur. Personally, I've had several people in my life, including immediate family members, be addicted to something. As a child, it affected my role, making me feel like I had to be the parent sometimes and give advice to the people with the addiction. It significantly impacted me as a person, as well as the other people in my household. Today, I see how the past addiction still affects the people in my house and how they choose to cope with it. Lastly, I want to talk about the ways to get help because recovery is always possible. The first step to recovery is admitting there's an addiction. It took the person in my house years to admit they had an addiction. Once this person admitted they had an addiction, they began the recovery process. For them, it was possible through the support of family. A support system is vital for people because it can help a person through the mental barriers and help hold the person accountable. Through my family members' journey, they have told me time and time again how much they're happier and have noticed the differences in how the people around them act when around them. Recovery is a very positive and hard thing for a person to do. How can you receive help for someone in your life or for yourself? If you are supporting a loved one through addiction, there are 5 things you should do according to Families for Addiction Recovery. First, set boundaries. This can be very difficult because it is necessary to keep yourself protected physically and emotionally. Second, learn ways to communicate better. You do not want to invalidate the person with the addiction, but you also do not want to influence their behaviors. Third, find ways to reinforce positive behaviors, like giving a good job for coming home on time or not impulsively buying things that are not essential. Fourth, find natural consequences instead of punishment when negative behaviors occur. Lastly, motivate change by showing the benefits of change. If you need support through addiction and recovery, there are several resources and ways to get help. Having a support system is a great way to help and hold yourself accountable through recovery. This can be a local support group, a group of friends and family, or even an outpatient clinic team. And these are some resources that I found that are free. There are also several support lines that you can get help from, such as 988, findtreatment.com, and remember that recovery is possible. In conclusion, addiction affects people in many ways, and the strongest thing one with an addiction can do is ask for help during the recovery process. Just a reminder, today we went over how addiction affects the brain of the addicted, how it affects the people around you, and that recovery is always possible. Thank you.